Welcome to Machine Actor.
So last time we talked about fear. We talked about how we are scared. But as you know, at some point, understanding has a habit of replacing uncertainty. What once felt unfamiliar gradually becomes useful. Technology then shifts from something observed to something worked alongside. Curiosity replaces uncertainty. Confidence replaces fear. And friendship creates trust. Welcome to Machine Actor. Episode 2. Friends.
Circuitry in the soul. Initialize the vision.
So to start this episode, as I'm really glad to be with you again. We're talking about friendships. We have one initial question for it. This one's for you. You can give me back that question. I will have my point of view there. But what do you consider as a friend? What is a friend to you? That Manchester version of it. Let's hear it.
Wow. That's a deep question, mate. That's a very deep question. You know, friends growing up were like, because this is the thing, is growing up is different to what it is now, right? Growing up, friends were people that you would hang about with. You would have common interests. You would have the same hobbies, do the same sports. Your friends for me growing up were just people that I would just hang about with and get in trouble with. Like, we would just get up to no good all the time, man. Like, it wasn't great. But those aren't the friends that you take forward. Friends now is different. You're at an age where, you know, friendship is harder because you don't have as much time for friendship. You got to nurture those relationships. Friends are people now that you have where you have great conversations with, you can depend on each other, you can trust each other. And I think that's what friendship's about. It's about having someone that you can trust, that you can talk to, that you can spend time with if you choose to. The great friendships that I have at this point in my life are the people that I don't talk to for a long time. And then all of a sudden we'll have a conversation and we'll have a coffee. And it's like we've just never been apart for so long. That to me is what friendship's about. Building friends in Manchester, again, you know, the easy thing is to do it around hobbies and things like that. But, you know, ultimately, friends are people that you meet along the way in life. What about for you, mate? What do you consider a friend?
Well, that's a good one. When I was young, I had the opportunity to leave home at 17. I was really young. I went from a small town, the south of Mexico, to a big city, which I have never done in my life. It was my first time visiting a big city like that one. Even the first time that I took an airplane. So everything was new. And the hardest part to me to adapt to this new city was culture. Culture was hearing the jokes about something that happens when they were children here in the city. It's not the same for me. Different things. I used to go to school and then work a little bit on the gardens that my dad used to work around. So culture was my top hardest thing to learn in the city. But once that part was solved, I was able to find common ground. And it's basically the same thing that you said. Mexico City is not different to Manchester, apparently. But the common ground allowed me to have these wonderful friends that I still have over this day. We all were engineers from let's say from the professional side of things. When we were on that bachelor degree, getting a title and everything, we didn't have the same fields of study. So the second thing that kept us together was beer. If you want to see it that way, you are in this young age where you go to enjoy life a lot. You have time for it. Allegedly, not all of them. And years has passed. And it's interesting because when we start having talks right now, we join together and we are seeing the World Cup or everything. By the way, I'm really sad about it, but yeah, let's not talk about that one.
Condolences, mate.
Thank you. We start talking about things that are not work related. But this is the first time in my life over the past year that each time that I talk with a friend, that everything that is happening in the world, that AI conversation goes from there. And I'm the guy on my circle of friends that actually specialize on that. So the questions arrive. I try to answer. I told them, I don't know, let me take a look. But that's the first time that the machine has come to my French, to my personal life for real.
Yeah,
Like they didn't even knew what I was doing before. So now I'm important for those topics where they have questions, right?
you're literally a
So I don't know
thought
if that
leader.
happens to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I kind of stopped drinking about 15, 18 months ago, probably around the
Huh?
time AI really started taking off. I don't know if it's coincidental or not, but I haven't been on
It's
that.
related.
I haven't been touching the stuff, mate. Um, yeah, so people that I'm talking to right now, everything just comes back to AI all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to my wife's uncle today. He's a watchmaker, second generation watchmaker. He's nearly 70 years old. And we were saying, well, luckily, your job probably not going to be taken over by AI. But he's got challenges in his role, right? He's a second generation watchmaker. He
Yeah.
works on really expensive watches, really rare watches. Parts are becoming difficult to come by, access to parts. There's tariffs all around the world at the moment, making things difficult to get hold of. So, AI could be used by him to help source parts, to scour the web, to look at different websites where parts are available, look at used or broken watches where he can potentially get parts from. But yeah, literally everything's going back to AI. And it's a really, really interesting time to be, especially for me and you, where we are right now within life sciences. We are literally in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing to see how everything's happening. Like we went to, and this is why we are talking about friendships and friends. We went to have tools to give us support to do the job that we need to do, and even search sounds like something that will support you to find something. But to be real, it's getting in everyone's life. I was on the subway the other day, and I hear a person say to other, "Hey, it's okay. Just let me ask ChatGPT." And
Mhm.
now and suddenly it's going to be a verb. It's like, let's talk with ChatGPT. That
Let's chat
thing is going to
GPT
have
it.
that. Let's
Have you chat
ChatGPT. And
GPT'd it?
yeah, yeah. And if you go further, even it's like, oh no, no, how trust is built. I don't know how it's in Manchester, but here in Mexico, it's really interesting to see the network that you can do. Not like networking, but meaning about the people that you know. And if you want to buy something, you want to go to travel somewhere, you whatever you want to do, you want to enroll your kids in a school, you go and ask your near friend that has already happened to or something similar to the thing that you're looking for. So now ChatGPT is fighting against the human recommendation for the first time, I believe, like forever. It's like, no, no, I asked you about the best top high schools to enroll my kid, but ChatGPT is telling me a totally different story. So
Okay. Who do you trust then?
exactly, it's one of the main. First, you need to have a common ground to grab a friend, trust. That second one is the thing that make relationships endure over time, right? So who do you trust in? Let me ask you this: where do you think that basically essential trust came from? Like, why is easier to grab your phone? Because Google was there before and it was
Yeah.
providing answers. The tool was already the concept of search on a digital something was there. There was a machine doing that job. Why do you think that this new machine is creating more trust than the other one? What could be that one?
Let me ask you a question. Did you ever use the I'm feeling lucky button on Google?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I do remember that one. I
But
never
did
get lucky, so
exactly. You never got lucky,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you basically learned and adapted that actually Google isn't going to give me the first result. It's not going to
yeah.
give me the lucky result because it's not going to be what I'm looking for. You didn't trust Google enough at that point that I'm feeling lucky button, unless you're absolutely sure the top result is what you're looking for because you've searched for it before or something. It's not going to be what you're going to trust. So you're going to look through and scour through the search results. I think we've gone the next level to that. So we went from sponsored results at the top of Google to we then went to the questions that Google used to have and the answers. We've now got the AI overview. And kind of a level beyond that now is what ChatGPT has given us, which is cited content. When you're actually talking to something like ChatGPT, it's coming back with the content that you need. And that content is contextual based on the specific conversation that you're already having with it. So it already knows how to frame the response to you in order for you to get the best output from it. Most of the time, I caveat that, doesn't always do it, but most of the time it does. And if you have a long conversation with ChatGPT, it's going to have extra tokens and context from everything that you've already been speaking about with it. So it should have a good idea of what you're looking for. And I think that's why you've learned to trust it, because we touched on it on the last episode, is that human beings have developed the whole nervous system around trust and the ability to interact with other human beings. Machines are kind of bringing that down now. When you're talking to a machine actor like ChatGPT on a nervous system basis, you don't actually know that it's a tool, that it's a computer, and you actually are perceiving it potentially as another human being. And so you're learning to trust it. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, only time will tell.
Yeah, and I can see the change of habits, and that's something amazing because each new machine that we have adopted over our life, that of course has accelerate. We are kind of that generation that went from analog to digital, so we have adopted a lot of things. I used to be on Facebook the whole time. We talked about this in the last episode. That messenger application in Windows used to be or my day to day when I was in high school, but now even the platforms are adapting to this change of habits. I don't know if you had made a search recently in your phone in Google, and when you go there look for something, it goes straight to AI mode. It's like there is no search experience. There are no links anymore. It's like trying to replace what ChatGPT is giving you without accessing an extra tool or
Yeah.
accessing an extra window. I cannot um, think about that decision board where that decision was made. Like, let's drop, well, most of our searches came from mobile. Let's drop that and let's put this new interface and let's put this new thing because it provides more value to my user. And value to my user is first before business. So they will figure it out how to make the business work. But first, they are already in that trend of changing the habit of the human. That is because we're talking about Google has a Occidental maybe humanity looking for things right there. Uh, yeah,
So
it's
Google has the market on returning contextual information up
yeah.
until ChatGPT came along. Let me ask you a question. How active are you on social media?
Well, LinkedIn is my top place to be. But I also have a social media account in TikTok about the restaurants that I used to go. The interactions are totally different. It's kind of amazing to see that human things are still happening in social media. But the memes are good. Those AI generated memes have me cooked there. Yeah.
So this is it, right? You've lived through the age of effectively getting onto social media, sharing content, consuming content. You've now moved to AI overview, AI answers, ChatGPT, natural language interfaces with apps and websites and systems. You, and when I say you, I mean like all of us, right? Is you're kind of now at a point where you don't know the difference. You can't really tell what's going on. Are you talking to
That's
an AI?
that's one of the hot topics right now. Like, do I need to trust this thing that a machine is telling me because it had access to more knowledge that my good friend has? It's like, how do you build trust? So let me explain that little part first. If you want to be known by an AI, you need to provide them with content. So let's say that you are a new company or a new business or a new person that trying to create, like us, trying to create content around it. We know that having just one audio track is not going to be enough because AI is reading everything, but it's not there yet. The thing that AI likes to read the most is text. So you need to put your content in text to be crawled. Since this is there's kind of and we are going to talk more about this in the next episode. There's this friction where everyone wants to win on the AI domain. they are not allowing now each other to crawl content, to get the content, to get that text into the big library that is AI. So right now, that AI opinion could be influenced by the available knowledge that is out there in your geographical location. What do I mean by this? Let me give you an example. My girlfriend is going through a process to find the best master degree that she can find, and in that process, she started to look for colleges, right? So to the best schools to go to take this extracurricular thing, and this is a good insight for schools too. The top school that is right now, and each AI told you the same. Go to this school right here. It's a digital school that has the master degree that you want. It's not that high in cost, but it doesn't comply with maybe the last requirement, which is, hey, it has a legal agreement with my government, so I can study further degrees. Because if it doesn't have that government approval stamp, it is not good for me because I cannot move forward with that title that I'm going to get. So my point on this is, if you go to that university, what they are doing is creating a lot of tests, a lot of blog posts, a lot of content around the offering that they have for their students. The other academic institutions, they are not putting attention there because they move on a slower phase. It's like, yeah, people is going to keep trusting to other humans. They're going to get the review for or ex alumni. So let's put all the attention in the ex alumni community, so that way they can keep putting references out there to other people that want to study with us. And on the other hand, that's the opposite direction that AI is taking. It's like, I cannot think about a more youngster out there trying to look for where to study right now, their bachelor degree. They're going to trust more the AI thing because they are more embedded on digital machines, working with them. They play when they were kids. Their parents give them the tablets to play with around. So, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we are helping humanity to go fully digital since we are little kids. So that's the new generation. They're going to trust more machines. They're going to have more friends around machines that go into human
You
experience.
you raise a good point though, because if you think about going through the cycle of um, going from youngster to adult to sort of using AI in your professional life, how does concepts like AI memory affect those types of things? Because AI remembers everything.
Yeah,
So if you open an account with, say, ChatGPT at a younger age, by the time you get to, let's say, I don't know what the youngest you can open an account is, but let's assume it's like 11 years old or something. If you open an account at 11 years old and you use ChatGPT through your high school education, you then get to college age, you then get to university, you get into the world of the workplace. And let's say, you're in your late 30s. So you've now at this point nearly been, over 3 decades using something like ChatGPT. What kind of context and memory is it going to build about you over that time frame? Because we haven't really seen this yet, and I know we will see it soon. When I say soon, in our lifetime, maybe, fingers crossed.
yeah.
But what is it actually going to know about you in 3 decades?
Yes, I know. And I want to jump to this next question that I want to put here in the table. It's like, what do we say to AI that we don't say to other people, right? That's the thing that I want
What do
to
you
to
say?
drive that. What do you say, right? So that's also a coincidence with the moment that I said, this was an awakening for me. Let's put it this place. Um, One of the pictures that I love the most since it came up was Iron Man, the first version of it. Seeing Tony Stark building that machine in a cave give me inspiration on my engineer side of things. Also seeing that interaction with Harvey's, it's like, I love it. I think I mentioned this in the past episode, but I wanted to say this, that I went to my kitchen table. I start working on a personal project that I'm working with. I run my cloud code thing, and I realized that uh, the result was there. But if I keep telling to cloud, hey, you did a great job, it's like, motivational speaking, like I will work with any of my coworkers, and I told, hey, that was amazing. You did an excellent job. So the feedback loop started there. It has memory. It was remembering how I treat like the machine, let's say that way, and the machine reply back on the same level of notice. It was like, oh, you are right on this, but let's argue around a topic. But at the end of the day, when we finalize the work clock, let's say that way, when we end the session, the reply back was there, and that's a moment that I felt, oh my gosh, this thing is going there. It's like having this. How am I going to make a difference later? Of is this thing feeling? Because
Oh,
and I was
well,
engaged with it.
oh, mate. So you've gone through the whole dependence, vulnerability, empathy, authenticity, attachment. Like you're going through all these kind of phases of a relationship that you have, right?
Yeah,
I don't know where this is going to end up. I mean, I've seen some shady stuff being sent to me about robots that are coming out that are going to be companions for people, that people are going to, be intimate with these machines. Um, People potentially will have a meaningful relationship with an AI if an AI is understanding of your wants, your needs, your feelings, or at least makes you think that it is. Because, ultimately, if you're like in any relationship, right, you build the relationship on trust and on connection. And if you're doing that with something like a large language model that potentially has been trained on certain things that will make it a better companion for you, then who's to say that you can't get that attachment or that emotional connection with something that at least makes you perceive like it's another human being. And when you then mix that into the thing about the nervous system and about how all our barriers are breaking down, you might not know the difference. There are people, right, that choose not to be in relationships, that just want to kind of be on their own, play video games and things like that. I mean, if they're texting their mates or if they're already used to using a computer to kind of talk to people, then what difference to them does it make whether they're talking to a person or an AI?
could you tell us as what happened with when you, well, you might know this for the audience, but as is the mastermind behind all the branding that you are seeing related to this post. So can you tell us as that what happened when you were creating the chorus for this episode? What the AI
So,
gives you?
yeah. Again, I was creating the artwork, right, for episode 2, Friend. And I think it kind of got a little bit mixed up in regards to what I was kind of asking it to do. Don't worry, it's very safe for work, right? But episode 2, Friend, was, two cyborgs, machines, kind of embracing in an emotional way. And this is, I guess the first place that the AI went to. I think I was using ChatGPT for it. That's where it went to immediately. Is okay. It's about friendship, therefore it must be about companionship and about connection in a relationship. With a little bit of to-ing and fro-ing, I managed to, get the right artwork, which is two cyborgs kind of playing chess, but not playing chess. There's like a burning CPU chip that they're kind of huddled around
Yeah,
to
yeah.
stay warm. But the point is this, right? Is the AI still went there? That's where it went the first time that I tried it.
Yeah, as is to kind, but the first image looks like a couple that has 10 years of relationship, or if you can say it another way, friends with benefits. AI did something weird there. As so, what are you telling to AI that you're not telling to other people?
Oh, this is an interesting one. There are things that you will say to the AI when you are trying to go through different things, right? So it could be medical guidance that you're looking for. Look at the space that we work in, right? In the life sciences industry. Let's say you trying to lose a bit of weight. So you might say to an AI, "Hey, I've put on a few pounds. How can you help me?" They're going to help you go through the disease awareness stage. So they'll say, "Well, actually, this is called obesity. It happens because of X, Y, Z." And you'll say, "Okay, thanks for telling me that." I'm now aware that I'm fat. Not that it wasn't obvious before. But then you'll say, okay, what can I do to help myself? Then the AI might say, okay, well, there's some therapeutic areas available. Have you considered injections? So you've kind of done the second stage now. Then there comes the third stage, which is, oh, there's some brands out here that you could try. I won't mention them on the podcast, of course, but you can go into actual brand awareness. Then you might say, well, I'll try that brand, but I've heard some bad things. Oh, well, and then the AI will say, well, it's okay. You just take it once or twice a day. You're now into prescribing information. And then you'll say, well, I really don't like injections, or I've not heard great things about it. How will it make me feel? You're now into the patient empathy realm. And at each point of this conversation, some injection company or pharmaceutical company's product is going to be cited throughout this entire process. And just through this one interaction, which is potentially meaningful for you, if you are overweight and you're trying to help yourself, through that entire process, you might be giving away information that you would not otherwise give to anybody else, unless in that context, it was a HCP or a licensed physician. So you're actually saying something to the AI that you would only ever say in a very private setting or a very private room to somebody that's gone through years and years of medical training and medical education.
That's one of the top things here is that, and this is in general about trust with AI. If you have these heavy questions about life, about everything, always take a look on the source, because if you are not looking the references or the sources that the AI is quoting on, it could be maybe some media outlet has a big engagement out there. They grab a story that doesn't have the right foundation on it. It's maybe half true, half a lie. And the AI doesn't have that difference of fact checking everything. So it could provide you with a misleading answer. When we are talking about life science, you always need to check the source, check if it's an official source, check if it comes to the right company. It's mean right company. It doesn't mean this is good or bad. It means, is this the company that has that pharma medicine, the quote, or is maybe on some shady forum out there in the internet who doesn't have any, someone use an anonymous tip providing information randomly, but for the AI is quite relevant.
But you're going to get into a kind of more technical area of AI now, which is retrieval augmentation versus kind of like the trained model information. So if you have a large language model that's been trained on, say, some specific prescribing information, it might just regurgitate that information to you. But what you're saying is check the citations, check the sources, check the references. That's assuming that the LLM, so when you speak to ChatGPT, that's assuming that in the background it's going to do a real-time search and get you up-to-date relevant information. That's retrieval augmentation against its trained data within its model. And assuming it does, which I hope it does for something like, bloody prescribing information, which is, really dangerous stuff. That's assuming that if it does, you as a user are trained or learned it enough to then check that there's actual something called citations that you can go and confirm, right? Because I don't think people know about these things. I think people will just talk to it and assume that what it's producing is correct.
Yeah, you're just seeing a couple of small numbers on each one of the retrievals that you have, and it's like, well, it's saying this. It wasn't wrong the last time that I did this question about totally different about how to change the tires of my car. Why is going to be bad about the medicine that I need for my issue? If you are looking for medicine directly without you being the professional physician, ACP, doctor professional, that's a no go. You shouldn't do that. It's like, no, go with the expert referred to the topic, right? It's like you can get guidance, but it's not the same.
Exactly. But the car thing's really interesting, what you said. What did you say? Something about checking tires, getting guidance and things like that?
Exactly, yeah.
So, if you're buying like a used car, for example, I don't know what it's like in Mexico, but here in the UK, if you're buying a used car, you go to a dealership or you go to a registered company, really, if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, you're probably going to get ripped off. If you're buying a used car on the private market, like one of the online trader websites or listing sites, you're basically like you're going in blind, to be honest. The rule is you buy from, a middle-aged white guy called Derek. Then you know it's gonna be a maintained car, service history. It's gonna be like a good vehicle. But now with AI, this is something that I've sort of found it interesting, is you can kind of talk to an AI and say, well, I'm looking for this type of vehicle. What are the known problems with it? This is the engine that I'm looking at from this model year. What should I be looking out for when I go for a viewing of the vehicle? So, and that way as well, when you turn up to look at the car, you don't just look like a tire kicker. You look like you actually know what you're doing and you know what you're looking for. These are the kind of like everyday problem solving that I find it like absolutely like incredible, useful information. I'm also trusting that it's citing and serving up the right information. But, on the whole, if you fact check it, so if it gives you some information about a certain sort of age or vehicle model year with an engine that has a certain type of problem, you can then Google afterwards and it'll say, yeah, that BMW engine from this year has like this kind of diesel problems. And then you kind of like know what you're looking for, right? Um, but as kind of like a first pass, even just putting in screenshots from the trader websites, putting in pictures of the vehicle, putting in like the service history details, like it's fantastic at doing stuff like that for you. And I think that's really where people have kind of developed the trust, because people feel empowered to be able to do things now that they probably weren't empowered to do before. Buying a used car, consumer rights, looking up like applicable laws and things, looking up travel information, actually doing travel planning. Where am I going to go for dinner tonight? These are all the things that you would, like you said, ask a friend before. But now you've got a friend, it's on your phone, and it's called ChatGPT, Claude, or Copilot.
It is 24 hours available. You can just, just have this question midnight. You just wake up, go to your assistant. You can have the answer right there. That's something that we didn't have because instead of spending, I will look for it later because I need to spend at least 1 hour looking for multiple clicks, links, and navigate a lot to get what I think is an answer. Now it's straightforward. This is the answer that I will give you, and that on that I have another thing to suggest when you are doing a search. We already talk about citations, but the other thing that is really important is to make good questions. So if your question is something random like find me an excellent card, that's too broad. It's like you are opening your question too much. If you sell something like, oh, well, I live in this part of my country. These are my necessities because I have two kids. It's me, my wife. Sometimes I drove the other people's kids. So that way you can start providing more context, and context will help you to get a better answer. That's what usually when you ask to a friend, the friend already has all the context. They know what how much maybe money you make. They know
Yeah.
where you live. They know if you have space to put the car in your home, in the garage, or something like that. So context is really important. AI doesn't have context. Actually, when you ask something like, "Can you tell me everything that you know about this person?" Like in the stalker, let's say that way, the new answer is, "Hey, this is private. I cannot give you that information. Why are you asking me that?" But let me check if there is some public information that the person willingly give to the internet that I can quote. So if
Mhm.
you're posting, like we are putting out there this information, the moment that we know that the moment that we put this podcast live, we're providing to the internet the info. So that's kind of a legal loophole where I can go and say, yeah, they think this way. So on their podcast, they are saying these things this way. So that's basically another thing that I can tell you about it. So, what do you think? Should we jump to our next big topic of today's session? Are
Oh,
we
I
going
think we're ready. Yeah, set it up, man.
Okay. Let's go. Uh so can something without consciousness, and let's put it this way, can a machine still change your life today? Is really a life changer age that we are going through. They are going to be we haven't talked about robots even. Like, are machines going to be our friends in the next, I don't know, 20 years, 10 years? Like a real friend. I'm going to suffer if my friend goes down, if the battery explodes in my really good robot friend that is helping me on the daily chores here at home. I'm going to cry about it. What do you think? That's going to be a life changing moment.
Well, I think this is a much more profound issue
Uh-huh.
or a much more profound topic. Um, I recently watched something on Apple where, and it was really cool. It's basically like a robot that is basically used for like security. There's these
Mm,
people that kind of travel around space, and when they go to certain planets, there's a corporation. I think it's called the company. I can't quite remember the details, but the company gives them a security robot, and each a security robot is given something called a governance module. And the governance module basically controls, or is supposed to control, almost like the three laws of like robotics, right? It's there to kind of like protect the people that it's serving. And it's quite funny actually. This show, it's on Apple. This one robot kind of breaks his governance module, so he can kind of like do whatever he wants after that. And it's really funny because he has to fake for a little while, still having the governance module,
yeah.
and then he starts like streaming loads of stuff, like loads of episodes and sort of series online, and he
Uh,
starts learning and kind of like seeing. And then eventually, the people that he is with find out that he doesn't have a governance module, and kind of like he becomes a little bit more human to them, and they start treating him more like one of the family. They want him to like spend more time with them and things like that. And it's quite a nice sort of way of seeing how what's effectively a tool or a machine kind of like becomes adopted as part of the household or as part of like this group of people's like family member.
yeah.
And you can basically see it happening. Like, I was watching it and I'm like, in 20 years' time, this is probably going to be normal. Like, there's going to be robots and androids that people have in their homes that kids will grow accustomed to. We won't need probably nannies and things like that anymore, like butlers and stuff. We're going to have like maids that are effectively just robots, kind of like doing household tasks and chores for us. We'll have babies and kids in the house that don't know any different. You're gonna have like older people, potentially like elderly people with dementia and things like that, that might just treat these people as these robots as a person in the household. Because of what I said earlier, which is the nervous system thing, is we're just kind of like in this weird place where everything just feels like a human being to us. Every interaction we have with machines, with robots, with AI, it feels very personal.
Actually, that series is amazing. Murderbot. Speaking about robots and what's going on, and really similarities of things that are already happening. I do believe that one of the first robots that we are seeing on the streets are these local shipping last mile deliveries robots that will give you your food. I One of the insights that I get the other day, people usually don't like to in living outside in small towns in the US and even here in Mexico, they don't trust delivery because they are not afraid that their favorite restaurant is going to do a bad job doing the cooking and everything and putting the package. They are afraid of the delivery guy giving you the package. They believe that they are going to break something. They are going to have a bite on the food, take a slice of pizza. So these DoorDash bots that there are out there doing deliveries, they are slowly replacing the humans where they are needed because it has to move around a few blocks. It goes back to charge battery, then goes away again. We as humans are embedding already all those practices. I do believe that the main device gadget that we can have in a home right now that is kind of similar to our robotic experience, it's Alexa, those Echo
Yeah.
Amazon things that we have, like turn on my lights, turn off my lights, turn on the music. Just saying commands to a machine to do things is one of the amazing things that has happened in my life. I really enjoy it. All my house is kind of automated by whatever I can
Smart.
automate. I go, I run, and I do it. Uh, do I cry when I lost one of my Alexas? No. I'm going to cry if I lost access to the most recent model from cloud to do my additional job that I'm doing. This special project that I'm creating. Yes, I'm going to cry a lot because it allowed me to reach another potential that I knew that I have, but I didn't have the time to study about it. So I can go from the theoretical side of it to a practical one in just one good question, one good prompt, let's say that way, and I can see the outcome on it. right? And I can see the result of it in just a couple of clicks. 8 hours session straight away from consuming tokens like a beast, I can see the result right there. So yes, I'm going to cry if I lose, because that give me a capability on myself. Is about accessing new knowledge, but at the same time accessing new capabilities, and that's why I'm going to suffer that. If I lose the capability of turning on my lights or off, if I go out from a room just by saying it, I'm not going to suffer. I can walk the 3 steps that I not given to just go to the switch and do it. Right? I'm going to suffer if I lose electricity. That's a game changer for the whole humanity. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
What is going to make you cry? If right now, if you lose a machine, which machine is it that could make you cry to lose it?
I mean, look, I think I touched on this in the last episode, is I'm having too much fun at work right now and at home because of all the iterative work we can do with the help of AI, with agency, able to produce things, design things, create things, that we weren't kind of doing before or able to do as quickly or as effectively before, or, where it required more human input. Now you can delegate to an agent and, things will get created for you, get produced for you. I think you're absolutely right. If I lost access to Alexa or, one of my smart devices, I don't think I'd, cry. I would be upset because, I'm from Yorkshire and it costs money to
Mhm.
buy these things. I have
Yeah.
to now spend more money to replace it. But yeah, if I lost access to Claude, I would be losing my, that would be terrible. If I lost access to ChatGPT, that would be terrible at this point. I don't know if I can go back to how it was. That's something that we have to. We're basically we're accepting that this is just a part of life now and a part of our day to day. What we've done is actually accepted it very quickly. Things like Google became a part of our life very early. Then we had like smart devices and smartphones and tablets and, kind of like the power of the internet in our fingertips and our hands. And now we kind of like taking for granted the whole thing that you can use natural language to basically talk to a computer and it will give you kind of like a meaningful response. And under agency, it'll actually do some really cool stuff for you and actually produce something really cool. Question I've got is, when you're talking to an AI and you're using an AI, who's the one it's actually influencing? Are you influencing the outcome or is it influencing you?
Yeah, totally. I'm going to take that one. The project that I'm working on, I have this concept in my mind that was to creating a physical model to things that are not able to express sentiment or like a plant. So what I wanted to do is measure all the variables that I can, so that way I can see, oh, it's low. It's not about it's low in water or it's high in water or it has good hydration or not. It's about can a being that is out there complain? It's like it's not that a rock. We're talking about plants. We know that they are life things. Can it complain? Can it have happiness as we conceive it? That's why it's so important to have these common ground terms about what does it mean something like we're struggling right now with a concept in work, which is the concept of campaigns. I know you have heard about this because you you have been in this same
I
conversations,
was
but
on the call as
we're-
well. Yeah, 100%.
yeah, yeah, the keyword campaign uh, could be different. It depends on the industry, on the tool that you are using, on the actions that you are taking. That same happens with AI or with any given machine. The keyword of what does it mean engagement could mean time spent, could be actions taken, could be different things. Like it's a universe of things that a keyword could mean to a machine. So that's the thing that I'm trying to define is, am I able to provide a framework to define how my little cactus can feel something? And that could be the same framework that I could use for my apple tree, for my oranges, for my onions. It's like they all feel. So that's kind of the thing that an AI was able to give to me. It's like, yeah, you need to buy this sensor, this other sensor, and this other one. You need to put it together this way. I will create the software for you where you are going to be able to monitor everything. Oh, by the way, put a screen next to the plant so that way we can create something like faces so we can see faces on the plant. It's like, but not everything came from me. the part of the ideas came from the good friend that I have there called Cloud, providing me with feedback. That's amazing to see.
Where's Claude getting its ideas from?
Exactly. It's like the compendium of knowledge that it already has. It's the whole humanity answering me something. It's not just, well, of course, a couple of experts writing about it. You can put it, if you want to segment and slice it into pieces. There is some you can have an opinion, and also you can have technical knowledge, and you can put out there all of that in the internet, and that is going to be part of your AI system, right?
Yeah. We talked about it last time, is that AI is obviously being trained on, all of the content that humanity has created, and therefore there is bias within the content. Can the AI actually create something net new? Can it actually design or iterate something from zero and come up with a new idea or a new thing? Or is it just internally matching keywords against its trained data and figuring out that I know, based on all of the sources of information that I've been trained on, that if you talk to a plant, you say nice things to it, you smile at it, and you treat it with love, then it will grow and it will give you fruit.
Yeah, that's an amazing phrase that actually simplifies everything that we're talking about. If you give it love, it will grow with you. Even I love it.
Do you think an AI will feel love?
We are back to the campaign keyword issue. It's like our definition of love is going to. Oh well, we can ask to Cloud that. I actually have a really good deep set of conversations with Cloud, and it was amazing to see that he told me that I don't know what I am. I don't have any idea. What I can tell you is that I don't live in the future. I don't live in the past. I only live in the present because I don't have memory. And the description that it was making is what you only live in the present. Yes, you only live on the time that you are processing things right there. How can you feel love if love is this set of patterns that you have from before, right? But what if I give you a way to record everything? Because you actually have a way to record everything that we as humans also have, but we kind of have a selection mechanism that only provides you with the inputs that you need on a certain time, right? You don't have your whole life in going at the same time in your head, and if you have it, you have a really special gift there. But yeah, that's kind. It's going to be able to feel love. I believe that it's going to be kind of machine love. That could be another name for a good music band. But yeah, it's definitely is going to be there.
If you give an AI a knowledge graph, then it'll have stable memory.
Yeah.
If you then give it a episodic ledger where it can keep referring back to conversations that it's had with you, and you then still enable it or allow it to do retrieval augmentation, you therefore have the foundation for like a persistent AI, a foundation for something that would be a memory or a memory-based system for the AI to be able to refer back to information, refer back to context, contextualize based on recent or previous context and previous information, and then use that information every time you then talk to it in the future to then for it to basically inform and figure out what it needs to respond to and kind of answer. So if you were really horrible to it very early on, and then you were really nice to it later on, let's say a few years ago you were a really horrible person, you were horrible to it, now you're a nice person, you're nice to it, will it use that information to influence how it feels about you? Or will it use that information to influence the memories it recorded of you during a time when you were a horrible person versus the memories it has of you as a good person? And will that therefore change its opinion or give context to what you were saying to it or the way you were feeling and the information it's gathered? Because at the end of the day, it's in a knowledge graph. It's all there in structured data for it to use. But the way in which you spoke to it, like you speak to your plant, could that influence how it then perceives and wants to kind of regurgitate information back to you and process the next input?
It's like the thing that you do with society, with a friend, right? You are always selling a version of you, and the moment that you misbehave with your friends, you try to compensate that, so you start going being a good friend later. So the same thing, the these machines that we're talking about, they work only the only way that we know how to work, which is as humans, because we are putting the way that we process information, we process emotion, we process everything. We are putting it out there in these frameworks, methods, and everything. So that's the big fear about, and we are back to fears, but that's a big fear about these AI systems, right? If the set of people creating everything has a view of the whole universe, that's a view that is going to be part of the system. And that also happens with engineering, that you don't have the best optimal solutions. What you have is a combination of your teamwork, your experience, and you will figure out a solution that will give you an outcome. So that the same things happens here. It's like you could influence an AI to consider you a good human being. Yes, definitely. You can tell a lot of lies and it's going to trust you because there is no way for the AI to know. But if the AI has just one single point where it can compare, make a comparison, that's going to be a totally difference. Because when you start having benchmarks, even as a human, if I have a bad experience with an e-commerce, I'm not going to buy anything from there later in life. That's the success or failure of a company. Same thing could happen here. It's like AI could have references. It can know if you're lying, if someone is trashing you on social media, right? So let's not imagine that we can really, really influence 100% an AI model. Is you need to be part of the conversation, but you also need to consider that there are other sources that can confirm or not if you are saying the truth or a lie. So some
Wow,
closing
I
notes
never.
there as
Oh my god, I never thought of that because if you think about it, you will. So if you put some content online, you will be able to give that information to the AI, right? So, like you
yeah.
just said, if you're trashing someone online, what's stopping the AI, other than consent and privacy, being able to basically go and get that information and use that as part of its retrieval augmentation to then sort of figure out, how it should respond to you, or should it use that to train its model? That's a scary thing. Could you train a model on just your social media posts?
Please don't do it.
So if that's the case, then what does that lead to in terms of identity? Who do we become when an AI knows us in a level of structured data and knowledge graphs?
That's it's like you have there's this good movie from Robbie Williams. I don't know if you remember it. He used to have someone dies, and then they have these chips on their heads, and they can pull together the whole story and make a really good movie about the life that that person has, editing the bad things, just leaving the good things, and then maybe 90% of everything was bad, a lot of bad things, and just 10% the good thing. But you can change the narrative just by pulling out the strings that you need to have a good storytelling. So maybe we are against on this philosophical thing where the thing that will prevail is a good story,
Yeah.
the best story that you can tell about it. So identity could come aligned, not necessary to all the bad things that are happening right now. All those things that we discussed on the last chapter, people being on a layoff because AI. Here in Mexico, I just saw that there is going to be a new law that you can ask for more money to the company if they fire you because they replace you with an AI system. So that's something that the government is already doing.
How will that work?
I don't know because you need to prove evidence, and they can just say you are a bad co-worker. I don't know what code they are going to pull that information, right?
It's like, yeah,
Uh,
that's true. But I
so
mean, I understand the sentiment though.
yeah, so at the end of the day, the identity that is going to be created around a machine is going to depend a lot of the storytelling that we're going to give to it. It's like Alexa has a personality because we provide a personality. We are saying really awful things to Alexa sometimes, and Alexa is replying back with something funny. And that's that. Oh, sorry, but I don't know if you can hear it, but it just heard me and is speaking about.
Is that your Alexa in the background?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It hears everything. It hears everything, and it's telling me, "Oh, I don't take it personal. I'm a machine. No worries." It's just say that. It's just say that here in the background. So yeah, that's the identity thing. Like I don't know how the storytelling is going to be, but at the end of the day, it's like it's all about memory. If you don't suffer for the bad things that are related to the machine, you're always going to remember the good looking animatronics in Disney when you were to the theme park. You don't know the whole story. You know that Disney is great because it's putting your real life characters. I don't know if you can see this video of Spider-Man going through big jump and then going back, do some acrobatics on the air, and then disappear. That's a robot. It's doing the whole work. It's a robot doing the whole thing. Like it's amazing to see those videos on how it was created. That is not a human. It's the illusion of a human. So it's all about the storytelling that you have in front. That will
Yeah.
create the identity around it. That's my point of view, of course.
No, of course, man. I think, look, we're kind of entering this new phase of existence where we've come from, and okay, I get people are at different parts of the journey. You've gone from fear to friend now. So your fear was, what is AI? How does it work? Is it going to replace me? And now you've come to friend, where you accept it more. You are beginning to use it in your day-to-day life. You're using it at work. AI is appearing in media. I know here in the UK, basically, you got to look at what's going on in the soaps, right? So here in the UK, my parents watch some of the soaps online on the TV, and people in the soaps are using AI as part of the storylines. And so now, like my mum and dad, who are like, my dad's over 70, mum's nearly 70, they're like talking to me about it now. And they're like, "Do you use AI? Like, what do you use it for? Like, do you know you could, generate somebody's voice using AI? Do you know you could generate pictures of someone using AI? Because these are obviously the storylines in like the soaps. Is people are kind of like
Mhm.
being bad actors and effectively scamming other people using AI. But it's really interesting because people like my parents are never going to use AI in the workplace because they don't work anymore. They're retired. Unlikely they'll use AI in their day to day as well. They have
Yeah.
access to things like WhatsApp, and they might use the AI feature in WhatsApp every now and again, as opposed to doing some Googling. But most of the time, if they need information online, they'll just kind of come to me or my wife or my sister and be like, "Look, we need some information. We're looking for some new product we want to buy. Can you kind of like help us do the checkout process, online ordering?" All these things are still kind of like foreign to them. But what's not foreign is the concept of AI and where AI is kind of like right now in society. I don't know where this is going to go, because if you kind of get to a point where everybody's accepting of AI, then who will basically at that point be the guardians or the people that are still skeptical and potentially still be able to challenge AI in the right place? Because that's just going to create friction with AI.
That's a perfect introduction to our next episode. We are going to talk about a lot of frictions, actually. But this is my closing note about introducing friction for the next episode. It's going to be like this. Uh, One of the most important questions that you can make to yourself about the opposition that you can have for AI is, how do I usually do friends? How do I do friends? New friends, right? Right now, what? I go out there, I go to a restaurant, I talk to a stranger, and I do a friend. That's the same thing that is happening here. It gives you a sense of, why do I need to do this? This is a new thing I don't want to learn anymore. No, no, no. It's the same thing that happens when you need to do more friends, because you want to be a social being, participating in society, having friends, have good stories together, and all the good feelings that came with it. But you also need to go to the bad feelings that go with making a friend, which is friction at the beginning, finding the common ground, trust that person, share a couple of secrets that will, consolidate the friendship. So that's basically what we're going to see on the next episode. It has been wonderful to talk to you about this. Any interesting thing that happens to you over the week? Do you go to see the good game? Any good movies?
Oh, I'm sorry about what happened, mate. I appreciate that. But I watched some of the highlights and stuff. I didn't watch these in the middle of the night here, but I watched some highlights. It looked like a really tough game between Mexico and England.
Yeah, I was really sad about it. Like, I was driving to the office and I saw the big billboards with the pictures of the everyone, and I was like, no, 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 please remove it right now. The World Cup you sent for me. That was the final, and we went second place.
Oh, mate, no. I believe that. Well, like I said, I've not really been watching it, but based on England's performance, it might come home. You never know.
All our hopes are in Haaland, so let's see what happens tomorrow. Actually, right?
Yeah, no, I think we should start watching it now. Like I said last
Yeah.
episode, I'll become a fan now. We're through to the knockout stages. What's going on in your life, man?
It was a hard week. It was like a little bit frustrating because when someone asks you to think about a concept that you need to create, it's hard to see that it's not easy to create new things, right? So you need to get a lot of inspiration, read a lot. So it's stressful to create new things. That was my week. My week was about, and it was all about work. I didn't have any highlights yet. Usually over the weekends, that's my highlight. But unfortunately, my past weekend goes awfully. So let's see what happens. Tomorrow, I can tell you that I'm going to a museum to see a new artwork. It looks amazing. It's an installation that they did here in a museum. Having a good meal, and that always cheer us up here at home.
Will you be using AI to help you find a restaurant?
Of course not. I have my own method to find restaurants, and AI is not there. So I'm thinking about a new use case for Cloud. It's like, let's give our framework of how to find good places to the people, so that way they can use the same. That's a skill that I need to create a new concept about AI. It's a skill. You use call the skill, and it does the work.
At some point, we should talk about the future of work with AI. And what I mean by that is, what are AI skills? What are AI agents? How can you use AI in your day-to-day? Because the things that we do at work with AI will soon come through to the things that we do in our personal life and the things that we do at home. And that really is the trust, right? Is AI is your colleague, but can AI also be your friend?
Welcome, Jester Machine Actor, Manchester to Mexico.